Even though you're talking with men all the time at work, you're still not married? I thought that a woman working in the red light district would have herself a man by now that she'd want to tie the knot with. But maybe that would be bad for the job, so perhaps it is better if you stayed single forever. And considering your age, it would be insane for a man to love you anyway. Nova? I was wondering why you wanted to talk with me again after so long. What's going on here? Are you just in a really bad mood right now? Huh? If anything, right now I'm in a very good mood, and that's why I'm taking shots at you. And what better way to pass the time than making fun of a brainless old stripper from the red light district? Nova, is this really you, Nova? Have you been taken away by a bad group of people or something? Or are you just really drunk at the moment? I never thought this would happen to you. Seriously, what happened since the last time we talked? I've always felt this way about you, though. But I was always a good girl and made sure to keep all my true thoughts about you under wraps. What is that supposed to mean? Do you mean you have really hated me all this time because of the kind of work I've done? And why would you be going off on me now? I'm going to be getting married. And if that wasn't already crazy enough, my soon-to-be husband is the son of a very well-regarded CEO. In other words, my future is safe and secured. Ah, is that so? Well, that's really good to hear, at least. Congratulations on that. I feel a whole lot better now knowing that you'll be getting married to a really well-off man. I'm sure you are, which means that from now on, you no longer have to bother with me. If my man was to find out that I have you as my older sister, I'd be very ashamed of myself. What? What does that mean exactly? For a long time now, you've never made any comments about the sort of work I do and have never ran away from me before. Although you did tell me not to tell anyone else about the kind of profession I've had. But you've thought about me and my work that way this whole time? Well, of course I have, Em. There is not a little girl in this world that could be proud of their older sister working for a red light district of all places. This whole time has been terrible for me, and I had no other choice but to fight back all that embarrassment you brought me. And I think I did a very good job doing so. No way. But for the longest time now, I've been doing everything I could to take care of you in place of our parents. I ended up leaving high school in order to go out and find a decent job that would make enough money for the both of us. And I decided on working as a stripper because it would earn me the most and I'd be able to pay for food and the cost of you going to college. What? Are you asking for me to cry about all you've done now? Stop trying to ask for something in return for all the things you chose to do. By the way, look, you're even trying to act like you would become my parent figure even though I never ever asked you to. What does that mean exactly? I'm saying you're just calling yourself my parent now to make me feel bad and give you some kind of respect in return for what you've done. Right? Well, if you want to keep acting like my parent in order to get things from me, then how about you pay for my wedding? Being the bride of this event, there are a lot of things I have to pay for. So how about starting this month, you start to give me an allowance so that I can afford everything? Hold on, Nova. You're starting to say all sorts of things that aren't connected to one another, and it's making it really hard for me to understand you. If you find that I'm such an embarrassment to you, then why are you still asking me to help you in terms of money? Don't say things like that about this, Em. I'm still your cute little sister, aren't I? And this wedding is going to be your cute little sister's one and only chance to make everyone jealous of her. You should want to make sure that my wedding goes off without a hitch, right? Well, after all the things you just said about me and my profession and lifestyle, I'm a bit hurt and confused about you. You understand that, right? Now you're just being a pain in the ass. As a stripper in the red light district, you are very used to dealing with other people, right? That means you should know better than to sit there nitpicking everything and just focus on making me feel good, right? So could you please do that for me? Listen here, Nova. The way I handle things at work and the way I handle things in my private life are completely different. As far as I'm aware, I have made every effort to make sure I could raise you with everything Mom and Dad could. Yet the way you were just talking about me then? Oh, I get it already. I may have said a bit too much just then, but I was just telling the truth, right? And that meant I don't want you doing anything unnecessary these next couple of months, okay? I've already told my fiancé and all his family that my older sister has been living overseas working for a global company. You're not going to be meeting with any of my man's family now, okay? That's fine with you, right? So that's the kind of lie you told about your own sister? Nova, are you seriously that embarrassed by the things I do as your older sister? I have been telling you that you're embarrassing this whole time. I happen to have graduated from college, yet my older sister never even made it out of high school and instead chose to become a stripper. You have to understand that saying something like that to everyone else won't go down well, right? That is why I don't want my fiancé or any of his family meeting with you. And that's why I told them you're living overseas, so they'd stop asking about you altogether. If you were to meet with them now, you'd only be making things worse for me, right? I don't understand how you could do that, though. Thank goodness I actually tried my hardest in life and made it to where I am now. I never wanted to become someone with the looks or lifestyle as you am, and that helped encourage me to try harder. I would have hated having to work a job like stripping, where I'd be ruining my own image the moment I told anyone about it. That's why I did my best and went overseas for a bit of school. And after telling my fiancé about all of that, I was able to get him to fall in love with me. I've come out on top of you now, and am living a far different life than my sloppy older sister. What the heck? You going overseas for school cost quite a lot of money in the end. But you continue to tell me just how much you wanted to go and experience class and life in another country. That's why I went and did my best in order to get a loan to support you with. You know about how I did that, right? Yes, I most definitely do. And it's not like the life of a stripper is that hard, right? All you have to do is relax and the money just flows in. You shouldn't just be asking me for thanks because you've been working one of the easiest jobs women can ever get. What? You think my job is easy? Yeah, because that's the truth, right? All you do is dance around on stage and then come down to talk with men and drink alcohol with them all night. You never have to use your brain and just have to move your body in different ways in order to get those men to hand you money. So easy, right? That's the kind of work even a high school dropout can do, right? But there's the thing that nobody ever wants to talk about with that kind of work. And that's the good paycheck, right? So that's what you think about the job of stripping? This whole entire time you've been around me, that's what you've thought of my job? Yes, that's right. And it's not like you ever had to say anything to me about your work. All I asked for was for you to shut up and bring in the money like a good little ATM. So thanks for all that. Wait, all of this crap you keep saying about me is really starting to get to my head. Why are you saying all of those things about me right now of all times? There's no real meaning behind it. I just felt that right now was the right time to let you know the truth that I've been hiding from you. I'm sure had I done the same thing as you and started life as a stripper when I was in high school, I could be so rich by now and not need a man to support me. But of course, then I'd still have to go to work and be around all those crusty men. So you know what? I think it's better that I ended up here, getting ready to marry the son of a CEO. I'll have even more money this way, so screw being a stripper. I never thought the day would come where my own little sister would look down on me with such disdain. Well, that's just the way I've been feeling about you this whole time. Now get to work saving up $30,000 for my wedding day. And if you can do that for me, I'll give you the gift of cutting ties to you for good. I'm sure that you'll start to hate me for costing you so much money over time, right? I have never thought of you as a waste of my money and have never wanted to. To me, you've always been the most important person in my life. It's been hard for me to make all the money you've required, but that's just what it's taken to raise you into a good little girl. Honestly, I've been so proud of what I've done for you, yet... Well, you're not wrong. You sure did do a great job raising me into a great woman. But having me around you will only last until my wedding, all right? After that, I'll have my husband take care of me and my needs. Nova, after getting married, will you be ready to pull yourself together and act like a good wife for him? I never wanted to think that someday you'd turn into the kind of hurtful woman you've become, but now I'm worried about how things will play out after the wedding and whether or not you'll be causing a lot of problems for your husband and his family. What? Everything is fine on my end. Sure, I may look down on you and think of you as pretty pathetic. But when it comes to my fiancé, I respect the hell out of him. I see. All right then. Hello, Luca. I have something little that I'd like to ask you about.
If it isn't M. I'll listen to and answer anything you have to talk about anytime. What's been going on with you? Did something happen between you and I recently?
Nothing that has to do with you directly, but it is something that's a bit tough for even me to spit out. I just wanted to let you know that if Nova starts to become a bit of a problem for you and your family, you can call the marriage off anytime you please. That's what I've been thinking about recently, and hence why I'm here talking about it with you.
What? What did you just say? Why would you come at me with something like that randomly? Isn't she the little sister you've done so much for all these years now? Did something happen between you and her that I should be aware of?
About that, when she was confident she'd be getting married to the son of a well-off CEO, she came to me with a confession. Before that happened, things between her and I had been just fine, but, well, it seems she hasn't thought of me in a good way this whole time.
What do you mean by that? When you say that Nova hasn't been thinking of you in a good way, does that mean she's wanted to fight you?
No, I don't think she's been wanting to fight. She told me that my work as a stripper is a very embarrassing thing for her. And then right after saying such a horrible thing to me, she asked for me to pay her $30,000 for her wedding. And then she went on about how after the wedding, she'd be cutting ties to me forever since I'd be a pain for her afterwards. She even said that I'd be happy about cutting ties to her because she's been costing me so much money this whole time.
What the heck has she been going on about? I thought that after she had lost her parents, things were tough on her and she'd find an even better reason to be close to her sister. Or maybe she's sorry about having to always rely on you and your money, and so now she's wanting to say goodbye, thinking that that'll make things better for the both of you and you can both be happy forever? Or perhaps she's always thought of you as too over-controlling and would rather break away from you now that she's marrying me than always having you by her side.
I'm sure either one of those could also be the case here. But that's really not how any of the things she was saying before sounded.
Well, she has always been one to hide bits and pieces of her feelings from others. And maybe she did her best to hide them from you since you're always looking after her. You are one of the nicest people I know, so I can understand why she would have hidden those true feelings for so long. But she can't possibly be serious about calling you an embarrassment and wanting to totally cut ties to you. There's just no way that would make any sense.
Luca, thank you for saying those things. Even if it's just for a little bit, you've made me feel better.
Now, I really hope that you realize that you've done so many amazing things in your life and have made some of the largest sacrifices for others. And if you don't, I'm sure you will soon when watching your little sister get married. You'll be able to find happiness in having given up on high school for Nova and having put all your energy into her. Things like that are sure not easy, especially when you were just a teen when it all started happening.
I suppose that's all true. But whenever I bring any of that up with Nova now, she tells me I'm just trying to get her to pay me back or something for what I'd done.
You haven't said anything to her that would make her feel as though she owes you anything, right? I don't think that she really thinks you want anything in return from her. I'm sure there's just a little bit of confusion involved here, perhaps some stress on her end.
You might be right about that. I'm not sure that's the truth, though.
As for myself, I could always tell the kind of woman you'd become the moment you left to start working. I could see that you were willing to leave everything behind, all in order to make a difference in your sister's life, no matter the cost. That is why someone like you should become the happiest person of us all. That's what I want for you. I've always been saying things like that, but you've never listened, and it's made me feel so bad.
Saying things like that about me have always made me feel happy. But all this time, I've only had one thing on my mind that I've been working for, and that's Nova's happiness. If I'm never able to see her become the happiest girl possible, then go off on my own, I'm sure she'll become hurt again and will never find joy in life. I've always been saying that to myself, and that's the kind of thought that's kept me going.
You sure have always been saying things like that, but here's the thing. That was going on inside you then. Now there's something else going on within you. So I think right now you should be more focused on your own happiness than anything and anyone else. You've fought so hard to make it this far, right?
Thank you for saying that, Luca. But I just really hope this marriage will be making Nova happy. If that's the case, then I really can have the time to start thinking about myself, and then both her and I can become happy.
I know what you mean. And that's what I'm talking about. Well, I guess to start things off, let's do what you've been wanting to do the most. Let's make sure that Nova achieves the happiness she's always been talking about.
All right, well, thank you so much for helping me out with this. Hey, what are you doing at this wedding venue? I never even invited you out to this wedding, right? What are you going on about now? I already saw that you went and hired someone else to play your older sister today. And then when you saw me walk in, you came and splashed wine all over my face. That had to happen because the one person I did not want here today came and was about to blow things in front of everyone. Do you want for my wedding to be ruined today? Of course I don't want for your wedding to be ruined. For a very, very long time now, I've been waiting for you to get married and have a wedding. After so many years of raising you as a parent. I just thought that I'd finally be getting the closure I've been wanting, seeing you move on into another family. You were the one that chose to drop out of high school yourself and become some stripper. What? What do you mean? Are you trying to say the way things ended up was all my fault? That's actually kind of what I'm saying. I don't ever remember asking for you to take care of me, and I sure as hell never asked for my number one embarrassment to come to my wedding today. Before anyone else can see or recognize you, get the hell out of here. I see. Then I hope you have a happy marriage. From now on, I will no longer be bothering to worry about you anymore. You should start worrying about yourself now. I'm telling you right now, from here on out, you and I have no more ties to one another. By the way, I told you to have $30,000 ready to give to me today, didn't I? I never saw that money come into my accounts at all, so don't come here acting like you deserve anything at all from me now. I see. All of this and that, you've been very much serious about then. If that's how you've been thinking of everything, then I'll think of them the same way. Of course I've been serious about everything. Wait, did you think for a while there that I wasn't serious about you and the money? That just proves that the inside of your head is nothing more than hot air. I guess being surrounded by alcohol and men all the time as a stripper has really gone and melted away your brain. I wonder where I went wrong when I tried to raise you like my daughter. Well, from now on, I will no longer be around to help you out. Good luck living your new life on your own out there. You're the one that's going to have to get used to living on your own now. I'm the one getting married today and will live my joyful life with my husband and his family. Goodbye forever, Nova. Em, where are you at right now? Come back to my wedding right now. I want you to be a part of my wedding now. I could have sworn we just cut ties to one another, right? Why are you talking to me already like we're sisters again? I told you already that this was it and that I'd no longer be around to help you anymore, right? You wanted to end things with me, so don't be backtracking now because it benefits you here. Don't say things like that right now, Em. I was just told that if you're not here for the wedding, that we will no longer be getting married. Why is my fiancé and all of his family so upset with me right now? And wait, why did they all find out right away that the woman I hired to play as you was a fake? Well, that's because of one simple fact I forgot to tell you about. I'm the one that introduced your fiancé to you. Ooh, what? What's that supposed to mean? Do you want to know why you ended up with the son of a very well-off CEO? Because I've been friends with that son for a long time now. And I told him about you. I told him that you were looking for someone without ever letting you know anything about how I knew him. Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean you did that without ever letting me know? I'd known for a long time that you would never really like the fact that I work as a stripper. And I was thinking that if you found out that I was the one that introduced you to one of my friends, you would probably think of him as someone that oftened the strip club and red light district. So I told him where to find you one day, and that's how I got him to approach you without having me to be a part of the picture. Is that right? Don't worry though, as your fiancé has never gone to the red light district before in this town and doesn't really care for strippers anyway. He and I have just been really close friends for a long time now, and he's always been there to look after me and my feelings. He's done so much for me, and so I wanted to show him to someone I knew he'd go well with in return, and that was you. And that's why at this moment you have a fiancé that you're about to get married to. Tell me, why would you even introduce a man like him to me in the first place? Don't you want to be the one to marry him and live life as the daughter-in-law of a CEO? I'm not going to believe any of that story for even a second. You don't have to believe any of what I've told you about him, but that is the truth. After all, I'd always dreamed about making you happy before me. I thought it would be horrible of me to become happy before you after all the hell you had to live through before. And that's why I wanted him to become your husband. Huh? What do you mean by all of that? I'm sure you've hated having to be a stripper in order to make any money, right? Stop trying to act like you're some good older sister and tell me the truth. Well, I suppose I have thought about things like that as well. But really, I wasn't going to leave the job I had to be with a man I knew I wasn't meant for. And that's why I thought that you should have him. Even if that did mean me remaining as a stripper. But honestly, I have been thinking about you and your happiness all this time, Nova. I felt that if I became happy before you ever could, that you'd be all on your own as I ran off with my husband and his family. I would rather myself be alone and you have a happy marriage than the other way around. What the hell, Em? There's no way you could have been thinking I'd end up all on my own that much, right? But when Mom and Dad passed away, you were crying for weeks and weeks, right? I know that you were, because you wouldn't even leave your room for a month and all I could hear was crying. I get that I had a very rough time after they left us, but that was just because I wasn't used to life without them in it just yet. Yes, I'm well aware of that. But I could see that you were never going to be able to get a hold of yourself without some help. And that's why I changed my life so that you could become happy again and not think about what happened anymore. I'm sure my reasoning for why I left high school and started to work was a bit wrong, but now that I think of why, I know I did the right thing. That's why when I met with Luca, your fiancé, I knew it would be awful if I married him and left you behind. I was afraid of what might happen to you after I had a husband and kids. You were thinking about all of those things when thinking about marriage? Yes, I sure was. But perhaps I've interfered in your life too much now. All because of what might just be a huge ego of mine or something. Heck, that's why things have gone the way they're going now. My ego told me that if I could make you happy, then it would be all right for me to start focusing on myself again. And that's why I was totally fine with you cutting ties to me. To be frank, a lot of the burden I'd been carrying is gone now because you wanted me out of your life. So, That's how much you had been thinking about me and my happiness? Then that means you can come back here right now to help me, right? If you start coming back now, you'll make it in time. We can tell everyone that we just had a big fight and that everything is squared up between us now. No, not happening. When you splashed that red wine into my face, your fiancé saw everything. And that is why right now he is here with me, apologizing for everything as well as praising me for what I've done. It also sounds like he's gone and told all of his family about you so that everyone is aware now. You shut the hell up! If that's what's really happened, then my chances of getting married to Luca will disappear. I was so happy to finally be getting married that I went and took on a lot of debt preparing for this. I thought that after getting married, I'd be able to have all that debt paid off. So if this wedding and my chances of marriage vanish, then so will my life. Had you been a good child and just listened to me and what I wanted for you, none of this would ever be happening. I'm sorry, but due to the choices you've made, being married to a man like Luca and joining his family is not a match for you, so give up. And one other thing. As for the loan taken out for you to go to college and overseas, you'll be paying them off all by yourself now. If you want to think you have the right to make fun of other people and talk down to them, then you'd better make sure your life is in order before doing so. After that final text I sent to my sister, her face went ghostly white and she began to try and call me. However, having told me she wanted to cut ties to me in order to avoid embarrassment, I took that personally and made sure to ignore every single call that came in. Soon after the talks about marriage had ended, Luca was completely over Nova, but was still concerned about how I was doing. And so after some talking about what I'd do next, he took me out for dinner and we began to talk about our futures together. There, Luca asked me if I'd be willing to go on an official date with him, and that started a relationship between him and I. When things came to Nova after being told she's no longer getting married to Luca, she ran off and started to look for a job while crying about all the money she owed and that she couldn't use me as her ATM anymore. Honestly, I think all of that is exactly what the selfish little brat deserved, but I'm not going to go around telling anyone that until some time has passed. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.